You are watching and listening to Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube and your favourite podcasts.
Right, Chris.
All right. Oh, look at me. Let me just pop that Viagra in. There we go. How the devil are you? Welcome along. Good evening, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night, goodbye. Hello, wherever you are watching in the world. Welcome to LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. It's Monday night. It's 7 o'clock. We haven't changed times or days yet, but this is Let's Talk Leicester. And, well, I got some breaking news. I don't know if you saw it last night, but apparently Delamitri, who did a Scotland football song, are going to re-release it. Apparently it's called Don't Come Home Too Soon. One point they had. Oh, you've got to enjoy it. They would do it to us. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. I make no apologies for that whatsoever. I might have to play it again before the end of the show. It is Leicester Till I Die TV. I've got two good guests. Dave can't make it, so I've got two good guests here. We might actually get some sensible chat. I'm going to bring them in, but while we're doing that, this is what it is. And it works, even if we did catch Craig out. Look at that. It was almost like I'd rehearsed it.
Almost.
Kate, good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. About to go on your jolly holidays. They'll be taking you home country road, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait. A bit of country music's waiting for me in Nashville.
Can't beat a bit of country music, can you?
No.
No, I like it, like I was saying before. And Craig, you like a bit of country music as well.
I do like a bit of country music. I managed to go and find my, hang on, where are we? My Shelby Lynn CD.
Oh, yeah.
About. Yeah.
I think is that the one with Feeling Kind of Lonely Tonight on?
No, this is our first one. It's called I Am Shelby Lynn. Very much recommended.
Well, no, like I say, you're talking to the converted because I did. I mean, I'm still impressed that you've got a CD. Just for the youngsters that are watching, a CD is something we used to have many years ago that had music on it. You'd go out and you'd buy it, and it was in a plastic cover, only one side to it, and you put it in a machine. It was read by a laser, just in case you're wondering what CDs are. There we go. And Nate is in. Good morning, Chris. He says, good morning to you, Nate, over there in America. I think he was liking my my video there. Ben, hi, Chris and Fox's fans. How's everyone this fine evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are from? We are all well. Sure, Scotland further than my country because we were not smart enough to use Canon a while ago till recently. Look, you know, I mean, it's fun that they got there, and it's even funnier that they're coming back. Hello from Freetown, Sierra Leone. Hi, Nakaya. Spencer's in. Hi, Spencer. How are you? You mean a cassette tape? Oh, cassette tape. I've
got some of them as well.
Yes. Do you know what you had to do with these pens? If you got a big pen or a pencil, they came in very handy with the cassette tape.
They did indeed. As soon as you saw that brown tape come whirring out, you thought, oh,
yes. Or you tried to eject it and it was all inside the machine. A cassette tape, by the way, Kate. It was a little.
I know full well what a cassette tape is, thanks. I used to tape the charts every Sunday.
Oh, that used to annoy me. I had a record collection and I sold it because I thought it'd be cheaper to tape the charts. And Tony Blackburn used to talk all over the records. So I do it now just to get my own back on my radio. Think if everybody's doing this, they ain't getting this in full. Right, so there's a lot happened. We've obviously got a new manager. I don't want to talk too much about that because we've covered that every which way but loose. But we've got Cooper. So look, we welcome him, whether you wanted him, whether you didn't. I don't think he's the worst choice we could have made. He was one of my four that I wanted. Very, very, very quickly. Kate, are you happy with him?
Yeah, I am. I think there was that initial feeling of bit deflated initially, but I think that's been more because you had Potter in your head and it looked like he was an absolute shoo-in. All the odds shortened on him and all the right journalists on Twitter were saying the right noises. So when that didn't happen, I think that was more the feeling of deflation. But now, as with anything, everything happens for a reason. And yeah, I'm happy that Cooper's come in. He sounds like he's great at building rapport and engaging players, and that's exactly what we need.
Craig, was he one of your choices?
No, I don't think he was. But then I think I was looking at something probably a little bit more ambitious, I guess. But then it's not my football club, not my money. So I can understand why they've gone for what would be perceived to be a relatively safe pair of hands from those that were available, that they could get in without spending too much money. I think it would have been a lot easier if we knew what we were dealing with in terms of a points deduction.
Yes. Because
if it's a big points deduction, then you can almost gamble a little bit, knowing that the chances are you're going to go down, but then you've got to get someone in who's prepared to stick around if we do go down. So yes. I think from that perspective, taking a 3-year view on it, they were probably limited on who they could get. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I haven't really spoken too much about him since he's been in. I've got a feeling that there's an opportunity here to reconnect a little bit and maybe discover a bit of old Leicester and be a team that plays on the counter-attack a little bit more.
Yeah. And he's saying all the right things, isn't he, Kate? When you see his interviews, his letter to the fans, which I don't think I've ever seen that before on an appointment. Craig makes a very good point. Like, if we knew where we stood, it'd be a lot easier. But I wasn't overly disappointed when we didn't get Potter. I'm not Potter's biggest fan. I would have been happy with Potter. Don't get me wrong. If we'd got him in, fine. But what's he actually achieved? We've got a World Cup winner now as our manager, who's obviously with the under-17s. He's therefore very good with the youth. And yes, I'm stretching it a little bit to say that, but technically it is correct. And he got a team promoted.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when you look at it and the cold light of day, Potter, when he was at Brighton, finished below us and didn't win anything. And then both him and Cooper failed at their last jobs. And Potter is somebody who was sort of favoured in the press. He had this millennial style glow up to reform his appearance. And he managed one of the most fashionable clubs in the world. So versus someone like Cooper, who didn't have a glow up, who was managing a team that had been taken over from the owner, really, in terms of 15 new players during the summer. He had a lot to contend with on that front. It's sort of I think Potter's more the fan and the media favourite, I think. But when you look at it on paper, they've both failed in their last jobs. And the more Potter's out of football, the more undesirable he will become.
I think he's in danger of becoming the new Alan Kirbishley, I think, who famously just kept waiting and waiting for the perfect job. And sooner or later, people forget you. But I think he's probably got a very good chance of getting the England job. And I think
you're mad to do that. If you're sub 50 and getting Premier League offers, you are mad to just jump on the England bandwagon, which is just safe and well paid. So you're not actually that aspirational, in my view.
No, but I think there's a danger of you keep turning jobs down. At what level is somebody going to take you? Because he's not going to get another top 6 job, and then the next set of things, he hasn't proved himself for 2 seasons. The game moves on a lot in that time, and if you're out of work, I think. I think talking very quickly about Southgate, I think Southgate could do with employing Steve Cooper's PR agency, because Steve Cooper came out and said all the right things, whereas Southgate said as much wrong as he could possibly be. And, hopefully we can get Calvin Phillips on loan, because he will be the cure for all ills.
But the thing is, though, Craig, and I know, you're probably still upset it wasn't Ruud van Nistelrooy, but how often he named him first. He named him first, this man. Probably that's what got him on the list. But the thing with Potter is that's the 3rd time that we've had. Now, if you're going to ask a girl or a bloke out for a date, if they've turned you down 3 times, the message is pretty clear, isn't it? Or it's said, I'll have a think about it. Give me a number. I'll get back to you, which seemed to be the case at the last time, just now. Sorry. As I so eloquently put it, if we've got to give, Potter a blowjob to get him to come into this club, then off. I don't want you. At least Cooper wants the job. Top wants him. Top trusts him. He wanted to come here. He's ours now. Let's support him.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think, it was hinted at, wasn't it? I think nobody's come out with a definitive explanation of what went on. The fact that Fabrizio was announcing Potter almost, we were just one step away from,
apparently I have a story about that.
Okay. Well, I'll be glad to hear about it, because it sounded like one of the big reasons for him not going for him in the end, that he didn't feel that he wanted it enough.
Well, no, the story when it was released in the morning, which was all over, I think Percy had tweeted it. Yeah. Tanner had mentioned it, and then obviously Fabrizio, who then famously deleted his tweet. So all of us that had retweeted it, suddenly there's a big gap there. Had all gone off the fact that it was in the Sun. Well, of course, if it's in the Sun, we all know that it's gospel truth, don't we? You know, so they'd also, and partly the Sun had gone too early with it because it hadn't been confirmed, and then everybody had to sort of, you know, backtrack a little bit. Because, like I say, yes, they were in talks, but apparently it was taking too long. And that comes actually via Mr. Tanner himself. So I can obviously say these things now that it's all done and dusted.
Yeah.
But he said, don't say anything, but, and I'm like, oh, do I reveal my sources? It's HB, by the way, just in case you're wondering. But yeah, do check this out as well, because you were talking about the points deduction earlier. I actually had a show with Kieran Maguire, who, if you want to know anything about finances, FFP or PSR, he is the man. He's written a book about football finances. He's done reports for people. He's on Sky, he's on BBC. He was always on Leicester Till I Die, obviously. And he also wrote for the Leicester Mercury. And everything I said, it's not worth knowing, and I'm not going to give too much away because obviously I want you to go and watch the show. It is still available on Leicester Till I Die TV YouTube channel, but please do go and check it out. There are 3 other clubs outside the top 6 that are potentially going to have the same problem as us this season.
Interesting.
If you want to know who they are, LTID TV1, go and watch it. And you might just find out. Anyway, that's going to be one of the longest introductions in podcast history.
There's a game on at 8, Chris, if you could.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah, but anything's going to be a letdown after watching Scotland get knocked out. Oh, don't start me on that again. Don't start me on that. Potter was, for many reasons, a bad fit. His staff just won. Cooper is a great fit for many reasons. And totally agree, Wayne. He was one of my 4, like I say. I hope Cooper will bring a style of play that will suit our players. He's got a plan B. I also check out LTID TV because I did an interview with Matt, who was a Nottingham Forest fan. And apparently somebody did watch it and said it did sound like a party biblical broadcast on behalf of the Cooper party, but he was very, very, he didn't want him to go. Let me just put it that way. So that's worth checking out as well. Anti's in from Ant's Leicester fan channel. He was in and I just clicked him, but I think he's gone again. Oh, no, he's there. Hi, Ant. How you doing? I hope you've not brought any of your followers along with you. Don't get on with them. If a guy has to be persuaded to take a job, he's not the man for a job. Exactly. Right. Now, let me go back and let me just get the slide up because the latest news, I just want to touch on to this, is that, and I think this is a bit like Real Madrid going off the Cagliacion shoe. Barcelona have got interest in Wout Faes. Now, I have bought there. That is brought to you, sponsored and brought to you by Seriously Cheese, because I don't know how serious that is. But I just want to say, as far as I'm concerned, and I think I might just be on my own here, go. I'm not impressed with him. I don't rate him at all. I don't see what the fuss is about him. Sell him, get some money in. Kate, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, really. What's more annoying for me is the sort of preamble before that is that 3 weeks ago he did say, oh, the Euros is a really good time to pull off a good performance because there's a chance that you get a decent transfer out of it, which is not what you want to hear from your players. I know they probably all think it, but similarly, it's not what you want to hear. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's doing his rounds and getting his agent to do the rounds to see what's available. But absolutely, we don't want to lose another mediocre defender who can do a job, by the way, but he is fairly average for nothing. I don't know when his contract runs to. So if Barcelona want to come in for him, can't quite believe I'm saying that, then absolutely take whatever money you get. But like I've said before, I think he's the quickest of our centre halves. But I always feel with him that with pace comes calamity.
Yes, yeah.
Occasionally, and he's not as trustworthy. I know Vestergaard's pace is an issue, but that is what it is, and there's nothing you can do to change that. But I don't distrust him to make a blunder like Fats had in this season just gone.
Exactly. And I've got to say, as much as I love Vestergaard, I think a 3-year contract now, I think that was Enzo's we're leaving goodbye and sticking 2 fingers at us up at us present. Scott is in. Hi, Scott. How you doing? Nice to see you. I hope you are well. Like I say, Ant says in, out, and shake it all about. Don't want to know about your love life, Ant, but welcome along. Do, if you're not a subscriber to Ant's Leicester fan channel, do get over there. It is one of the better channels for Leicester. Sounds like absolute BS. No way Barca is that badly run. Craig, your thoughts on the Hair Bear bunch?
I must admit, I do like him. What I like about him is probably what will become a problem in the Premier League and that's his aggression. I think you got away with it in the Championship. I think the referees were a little bit more lenient. So he definitely was one of those who got his retaliation in first. I think there was a few challenges. I remember the one that led to, I think, to the first goal in the 5-0 against Southampton was a challenge that he made on the halfway line. And I love that aggression about him. I love his recovery pace. I love so much about him, but I don't think he'll get away with it in the Premier League. So, you know, there's a lot of talk that we're interested in Joe Rodon, who is a right-sided, right-footed defender, that if you can sell fast, get Joe Rodon in and make a profit on it, then that's probably good business.
And of course, Joe Rodon linked, you know, he knows Steve Cooper well. I mean, I'll stick with you, Craig, because you're a fan. He said, I mean, I can't remember what he exactly said, Kate, but if you have a good Euros, that's a good place to sell yourself.
Basically,
he's particularly having a good Euros, is he?
No, he's not having a great time. But I think sometimes, you know, unless you're really media savvy, and I'm not sure, you know, all footballers should be. They should be. Their agents should give them media training. What happens is, journalists will pitch questions that they know will lead to answers that then create copy. So that journalists are always asking for. You could see that in the press conference with Harry Kane the other day. The journalist was trying to make a story and make a division between him and Lineker. The way he asked the question was to get a certain kind of answer, and I thought Harry Kane dealt with it really, really well. But one, you know, if you're getting lots of questions about your future, you know, you're asked a question. Rarely in interviews do you see the question that was asked. You usually get just a little bit of the answer, and then they'll put it into a context that suits it.
Yeah.
But also, you know, if he's been asked not in his second, in his second language, I can understand him giving an answer like that, because that's the reality of it if you put in a good performance. But I think it was a little naive at best, and he should be a little bit more thoughtful. So badly advised, but he comes across as some guy who just thinks he'll say it how it is, and that's it. Like
you say, second language.
Like he's defending.
Boom! You're there. But Kate, I mean, with all of these stories, Cooper's going to have to come in. He's going to have to hit the ground running. I mean, the players aren't back till the 8th of July. So he said he's watched all the games last season, which is fair enough. You'd expect him to, possibly. So we'll have an idea on the players, but he'll want to meet them, want to see what their options are. You know, we could be keeping Christensen. We don't know. There's all these questions, but it's only the new players now that come in that we're going to know will suit his style, because obviously they're going to be his players. You know, look at Vestergaard before Enzo came in. Did anybody think we were literally Clark Kent to Superman? That was Vestergaard. We never saw that coming. So it is very much up in the air at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, but I suppose now all the players have been able to show that they are able to change their games and tweak things based on the manager's plans and style of play. So they did it last year. And we all thought Vestergaard's career at Leicester was over before the start of the season last year. We thought we'd probably see more of Suter in the Championship than we did. So things can change in football really quickly and in and out of favour players. I mean, look at Iosi Perez, for example. Right, you know what I mean? Like, what a change for that guy.
James World Cup
takes a different manager. Yeah, it just takes a different manager to bring new opportunities for players. But yeah, agreed. The new ones that he buys in will show what gaps he thinks we have that need filling in order to play his best style of football.
Before we move on, Craig, just on this point that Anne's raised, we could be keeping the Aussie slabhead. I'd be quite happy. I don't think Souttar's had much of a chance, and I think he could be a good defender for us.
I think you're right. I think you might well see him more if he gets this set piece coach that he wants to bring in, because I think Norwich were created the third most chances from set pieces last season. So someone who is a decent defender, but is also a danger in the opposition half, I think, will be highly favoured. So I think he'll definitely get a chance pre-season, and then it's up to him to grab the opportunity.
Isn't the set piece coach who wants to bring in, isn't that his assistant manager?
Well, I'm not sure. He's a set piece coach at Norwich. Now, I think he's worked with him before as well.
Right.
But if he's assistant manager and set piece coach, then that means we're getting 2 for 1 and saving a bit more on the salary as well, maybe.
Yeah. Now then, I'm so glad I've got both of you in today, because first of all, first question, which is a simple yes or no. Kate, have you renewed your season ticket?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it wasn't a funny question. It was.
Well, I never know with you.
Well, this is true. Fair point. I'll take that. Craig, have you renewed your season ticket?
Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant. Can I just say that I did apply for one, but wasn't lucky again. But I will probably renew my membership.
Don't they know who you are, Chris?
I will. Obviously not.
And to be honest, what I will say is, when it looked like we were going to appoint Steve Cooper, there was a hell of a lot of people on TikTok saying that they were going to throw their season tickets away. So, I'm sure that they are all people of their word, and they've done exactly that. So there may be a few extra season tickets
becoming spare. Exactly.
Going, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. You must have seen what's being said by Union FS, and I'm a great lover of Union SS. I think they do a great things to do with the TIFOs and the charities work and the supporting that they do. I think is brilliant. They've come out with a statement. LCFC taxes its fans again, and I've just put 2 comments there. Funnily enough, from Sean's, 2 Sean's, but spelled differently. One says clubs seem to be getting more and more out of touch with the fans. It's shocking. And Sean says, still cheaper than most in the Prem. Some people only happy when moaning. Kate, your thoughts on the price increase?
The season ticket price increase or the Gen sale ones? The season ticket season ticket price increase, I don't have an issue with at all. I think in this environment in particular, this will be my 11th season as a season ticket holder, and this is only my second increase in 11 years. I think people were complaining at the inflation increase of 5% when maybe the last 12 months has only been 3%. But if you want to play that game, the inflation over the last 3 years has probably been in excess of 20%. So Leicester City has costs, and it won't be surprising to many that inflation in football is totally different to inflation in the UK. Football doesn't form part of the basket of goods in the price index, and football, like medical expenses as well, like the cost of your hospital treatments and things like that, has its own inflation index. And we can tell by the rate of wages players, by the rate of transfer values. We're buying Fatawu for what Newcastle paid for Alan Shearer, just as a bit of concept.
Alan who?
Alan Shearer, the best guy.
Your favourite, yes.
But yeah, the inflation, it is what it is, and football inflation is way higher. So I haven't got a problem with that. I think where the £25 for the card thing came in, which was quite inflammatory for a lot of people, I think they should have just bunged that in with the price of the season ticket. I think the comms around that was quite poor, and it was really aggravating to the majority of the fan base. And I'm not quite sure why they did that, because if you'd have put 25 quid in the price of my season ticket, I wouldn't have even thought about it. But the moment you start to itemize a season ticket cost, like say, for example, you might £10 of your season ticket goes to the goalkeeping coach or whatever. Like, if you start to itemize the cost of something, that's when you get more noise and more backlash about it.
Bit like council tax, really, isn't it? So much of it goes to the buyer, so much of it goes to the police.
Yeah.
Craig, I very much see it from Kate's point of view. You know, we won the Premier League. They didn't put the cost of the season ticket up. You know, they've stood by us and they have not increased it. Now we're not in the doo-doo, let's be honest with you, but we need to sort of try and balance the books somewhat within the rules that we're allowed to. Is it such a bad thing that they put all these price hikes there?
I think very much as Kate said, I think it's about communication, and I think that's the biggest disappointment, that they haven't learned. They haven't put in a, shall we call it, a fan liaison officer or something, created a post almost, for someone to be doing this kind of thing, to take the temperature, of the fans. They're obviously all over social media or whatever, but they're clearly not thinking ahead of the game. And they've got structures in place. They've got the Foxes Trust, who I would listen to a little bit more over Union FS. I'm not a big fan of those guys, I must admit, because I find them very fair weather. Anybody who sings, through good times and the bad, we always back the lads, and then start booing, I haven't got any time for any of that. It winds me up something rotten. But the club should have learned enough by now to know how to communicate better, how to make, in any good PR, I work in marketing, you strike first, you get your reasoning in first. You don't put something out there, then get the reaction. And then, because it always looks then like you're trying to backtrack and you're trying to cover up. If you come straight out of it, we're doing this and this is the reason why. As Kate said, you don't need to itemize it. You don't need to go into that detail. But if you're there saying, we haven't put prices up, the cost to the club over the past 3 seasons, X, Y, and Z, we're now moving back into the Premier League. We need to balance the books. All of these kind of things, they could have turned it into not necessarily a positive, but a neutral announcement. And what they've done by saying nothing and allowing the voice to come from the fans, they're giving ammunition to those who say that the club are becoming out of touch.
Thing is, a very interesting point you made there about the fan liaison officer, because I'm sure everybody here knows Dan, the Burnley fan, who I was only just speaking to literally before I came live. They still haven't got a new manager yet. No. Wow. I thought, and you think Leicester City are slow, guys, in our dealings with these things. No, Burnley still have not got a new manager. One thing, though, because, of course, they had new owners recently, the Alan, and I can't remember his name, but the American guy that's come in. And he actually set up a, I don't know what it's actually called, but like a fans trust meeting sort of thing. And once a month, he actually, well, I think if he's in the country, gets together with 20 or so fans, and it's all private. Obviously, they're sworn, that they can't go and talk about these things outside, but they can put their thoughts over. They can put, any ideas they've got. They can ask him any questions. Alan, thank you, mate. Thank you. And not Alan Price, because he'd turn up with his amazing dancing bear. Boom, boom. You're too young, guys. But Alan Pace, definitely that's the one. And it sounds, actually, Dan is on that panel. And, he said it did bring him closer to the fans. Something like that, Kate. Could you ever see Leicester doing that? Because I think that's a brilliant idea.
It is a great idea. And I think they probably just need to reflect and learn from the mistakes a bit with this. And I'd love to see something like that in place. But from what I know, Leicester have a really big communications team anyway. So surely someone there is got the experience and now to have some foresight about how inflammatory things can be when they release things at the wrong time, which I think has been a bone of contention, certain timing of certain announcements, and then also the very closed nature of the communication before partly backtracking sometimes. I just don't know. With the £25 thing, I don't really know what they think they were doing. It was ridiculous how it was communicated.
Yeah. Your thoughts on that, Craig? Do you think that could work at Leicester? I mean, look, you're on LinkedIn like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you are, Kate, but the number of people, if you search Leicester City there, I mean, it's like 20 odd pages of people that have got some sort of job, whether it's a club in the community or you know, whatever. There's loads of people that seem to work in obviously the non-playing or managing side of the staff. Surely there's somebody there that can put, you know, sort these sort of things out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty poor the way that things have developed. You know, this is a multi-million-pound business now. Yet very often it's run as if it's just run out of someone's back bedroom. I mean, even going back to the 80s with Brian Little and that, Barry Pierpoint, you know, you heard a lot more from Barry Pierpoint. I think probably before that, or maybe just after, a guy called Paul Mace, I think was a press and communications officer. You only hear from the manager. It's very rare that you hear from anyone else at that football club. And that puts a hell of a lot of pressure on the manager. The manager wants to be talking just about on the field things, you know, football related things, not all the admin. So I don't think it would do any harm to introduce a third party into this that is someone from the press team who can be the face of that. And then you're not having half of any press conference when all you get to speak to is a manager, ask questions that are irrelevant to him. You know, and I think in this day and age, you know, every business has these people in. I don't understand why football is so slow at catching on.
No. Point here that is made by And. They have regular meetings with Fox's Trust, don't they? If they do, Kate, then Fox's Trust aren't very good at putting that across.
I think they do as and when, don't they? When there's the stuff to be discussed, from what I know. I've only recently joined the Foxes Trust myself, so I don't know. And the last time that they met was about this £25 and inflation increase issue. So I think they tend to meet as and when's required, from what I understand, not a regular kind of meeting.
No. For me, I think if you have regular meetings, like at work, you know, if you've got a weekly meeting, and you sit down and think, oh, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, and you actually sit and think about it, it makes you think of things that you probably wouldn't normally ask about, but you really do. Craig, are we seeing the end of sort of Leicester City as we knew it? Or, you know, back in the day, and I know a lot of clubs have changed, so, but, you know, not really bothered about other clubs, but this family club, you know, that you know, King Power was sort of building on, is that all out the window now? Are we no longer that club?
I think we are that club. You know, everybody you talk to behind the scenes, all the players talk about what a special club it is. You know, you got Mark Albrighton saying it. Connor Cody, every time he gets the chance to talk about the football club, is glowing in his praise of what a special football club it is, and all the people are there. I think they're kind of on the cusp of losing it. It's still there and they can still pull it back. I think they just need to step back, look at everything that's gone on. Once the players are back, once the manager's in, they're getting the players, I think they need to have a look at that side of things, that press and PR and public liaison role, and get it back so the fans start to feel connected again. Because I think there is a danger that connection is being lost.
Okay, just final point before we move on. Again, on what Craig said there. Yes, a lot of the players, Connor Cody, Mark Albrighton, are saying what a great family club, etc., etc. You're not hearing that so much from the fans.
No, you're not. I think we've been spoiled over the years with a lot of gifts and obviously success on the pitch as well. And the pricing has always been within reach. But I think that, again, was probably because we weren't a Premier League club for a long time. And this just happens with the turn of wanting to become that bigger club. But what I will say about, there's a difference between communications and sometimes fans' expectations, because from what I understand, some of the irritation has been from the fact that Union FS and the Foxes Trust were almost shocked that the club didn't tell them or ask them if it was okay to raise the prices. That is not what the club are going to ever do, ever. Sainsbury's don't say, is it all right to raise the ketchup next week, Kate, when you want another bottle? Is that all right? Of course I'm going to say bloody no. So that there needs to be an expectation that the club is a business. The club, despite football still very much being a working class sport, is very much a luxury item that people afford as part of their week-to-week spends. A Premier League football club comes with a cost to fans, and that's what you have to stomach. So I think the communication definitely needs to be better, but I think fans' expectations about how much they want the club to move forward, we want the best players for the cheapest money. We want the club to have better communications. We can't raise season ticket prices. You've got to keep prices under 40 quid for general sale. So sorry, why are we in FFP problems again? You can't have it all. You've got to pull on revenue where you can, and that a lot of it does come from the fans. A lot of it comes from non-fan revenue as well. But both have to just be a bit more realistic, the club and the fans, about the direction that relationship goes in, because it has lost a bit, but it was really, really high. So it's very difficult to maintain what it was, and we were the envy of all fans, and probably still are. Like, I think we still are. Both need to be a bit better, I think. I
think it's right what you say there. That, and as I say, I've mentioned previously my thoughts about Union FS is if they've set themselves up as the voice of the fans, and because they shout loudest, theirs is the voice that should be heard. Forget the other 25,000 people who are in there. It's like when they wanted to take away the clappers and all this kind of thing because they don't like something. That appears to be the line they go down, and they are the voice of the fans, and it annoys me that it's the silent majority as always, and that's society in general. Everything, every day that you turn on the TV or look in a newspaper, it's the silent majority who don't have a voice. That's why they're called the silent majority, and it's those that shout loudest in small numbers that seem to get things done. And we're just seeing that as a microcosm of society in our own football club.
I was going to end like that, then we will move on with this last comment from Ant here. The family club has gone a few years ago for me. Costs over 100 quid to take my two nieces to a game. But surely, Ant, if you are taking your two nieces to the game, you could get yourself in as a child price, couldn't you? He's 4 foot nothing.
I mean, you've got to look at it. It is an entertainment thing. You look at the cost of concert tickets or anything like that these days.
Yes,
everything is expensive, sadly. And as you said, Kate, you have to pick and choose what you want to do. Pricing of football games, pricing of concerts, isn't necessarily done to say, right, okay, well, you can bring a family for X. Sadly, that's not how it is, and it would be lovely if the world was like that, but it's not, because you only want to bring the family one game in every 6. A football club can't structure itself on that, and sadly, that's what it is. And if you want to treat them, then you have to treat them now and again. We would love it to be the old days when you could walk up and just pay on the turnstile and get in on a whip.
Spoken like a true Swiftie.
But can I just say as well, the family stand issue, which I think he said, like, the family stand is naturally going to shrink, because I know quite a few people that were family members and had season ticket holders that are now beyond 16. So their season ticket they have retained, but they had to leave the family section because they're over 16 or whatever. They've chosen to leave the family section. I'm not sure on the rules around it. So it's by default it's going to shrink, because they don't invent 2 more season tickets because they're at capacity for season tickets. And those 2 boys I'm talking about have moved to a different part of the ground. So by virtue of natural shrinkage, it is going to shrink because those fans keep their season tickets, but they go out of the family zone. I don't like the membership cost, but that I had a look at Wolves' website the other day just out of interest, and theirs is more expensive than us, and their season tickets had a 35% hike as well.
I mean, the whole ground needs looking at in terms of where people are sat. You can't have, your away fans next to a family stand as well. That's sort of been hijacked by one end of that family stand now being just involved in talking shite towards the opposition fans next to some kids who are sitting there who come for their first ever experience of the football. I mean, the whole thing is a shambles and it needs looking at. But with that comes even more trouble because people hate moving seats. So they need to find a solution somehow. Maybe when we build the new tier, all the away fans will be shipped up there like they are at Newcastle.
Let's hope so. Very, very quickly, Scott says, do you believe Daka will stay?
There's the question on everyone's lips.
Do we want him to stay? Let me put it another way then. Do we want him to stay? Yes or no?
I mean, if he's got a value and someone will pay it, I think we move on. I think I'd rather see Cannon get a chance, to be honest. Nothing against him, but he's had opportunities. And I think sometimes you need to move to reignite your career. And I think that is probably one of those that's best for both parties.
Do you agree with that, Kate?
Yeah, and if the club and new manager know that they're not going to get use out of him, for the love of God, sell him for some value. Don't let the Bosman ruling screw us over again.
No.
Just sell him for anything.
Please, not the Bosman ruling. We've had that too often. Right, we're going to move on to our final subject, and we're going to do that straight after this. No two fans down the pub tomorrow because England are playing. It was a very difficult choice whether to go down the pub or not, but they're also doing work, so we couldn't have our normal space. So we'll be back down the pub getting pissed live on camera a week tomorrow. Tomorrow it is England versus Slovenia. I think if Albania lose tonight, I think that means we go up. I don't know how, but I heard that earlier. It can't be any worse than the last game. And look, I've backed Southgate as much as I can. And all I'll say is, after that last performance, let's hope he is retiring at the end of this tournament. But I want to look at the, because that's another show all on its own. The fixtures came out. Our first five, we've got Spurs at home on the Monday Night Football on the 19th of August, Fulham away, Villa at home, Palace away, and then Everton at home as well. My worry, Kate, was that if we do get a points deduction, I don't know whether it will be in before then. Who knows? with the Premier League, it could be Christmas when we find out. But let's say we do get that. If we were suddenly to get Chelsea, Man United, Man City, Newcastle for all those games, we could find ourselves cut adrift very, very early on. I'm quite happy with that. Even the two big games there, I think, are not out the realms of possibility because both Spurs and Villa showed they could trip themselves up last season. I'm quite happy with that start.
Yeah, I am as well. I'm glad that we've got a home game first to welcome Steve and just to sort of allay some of the fans' nervousness and concerns. I think we'll all be well behind the team on that night. I'm licking my lips that it's Spurs. I think there's obviously a lot of fireworks between us, and I don't want it to be a repeat of what happened last time when Spurs were at home. But it's a great opportunity that even if we don't get a win, it's such a great opportunity for Steve to pull out a performance, a really positive performance. Because if he does that against Tottenham, he'll win the haters over. They'll be like, all right, give this guy a chance. He did a decent performance. Spurs are obviously going to be favourites. So I think even if we could pull a draw out of that, but play really well with encouragement, it could look different. But I think it's only right and fair that the Premier League sort themselves out and we know what we're dealing with before there's a ball kicked, because that sort of the mental impact that could be of getting, say, 10 points from those first 15 games. It might not happen, but say we did, and then to lose 9 of them, that's massively impactful, I think, than starting on -9 and 5 games in being on only -1. I just want it sorted before we start. It's got to be. They'll have had enough time by then. It's 2 months away, for goodness sake.
Enough time. Well, fingers crossed, but I can't see it happening. But yeah, it would be better. But look, Craig, I mean, Forest and Everton only had a third of the season to sort themselves out. At least we have got the majority. But your thoughts on that start?
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to see lots of similarities between the 2014-15 and 2015-16 season. So I think we're in for a repeat because obviously when Ranieri was appointed, I don't think many people were quite enamoured with that appointment. The season before, we got ourselves in a little bit of a trouble and, an okay start, but then we had a great run at the end. And I think more importantly, other than the first 5, the last 5 fixtures are the interesting ones to me because that is whatever state you're in. They look to me. I know you're probably going to bring those up.
We will bring those up later.
But again, that tells me that we've got a chance of getting out of any trouble we may be in. And then obviously, so we have a great escape at the end of this season, and then we go on and win it next season. It's all sorted.
Yep. No,
I'm here for it. I'm paying 5% for that. I'll tell you now.
Exactly.
Return of the Mad Kate for our first game. Madison returning, not having come back from England duty because, of course, he's not on it. Anybody there that really? I mean, look, I've got. I mean, the 3 of those games were at home. So 3 of the first 5 games being at home is a plus as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking at Fulham thinking, am I going to go to Craven Cottage? Because the last Craven Cottage experience was absolutely dreadful. Do you remember it? Absolutely. It was horrendous. It was one of the worst games I've ever seen Leicester play. So, yeah, 3 games at home.
If only you knew.
3 games at home. I really like Madison. So, I'll welcome him back with a loud cheer. I think he was great. So I don't think you can say fairer than that. I think Palace will be doable, Everton will be doable, and Fulham will. It's just whether I say to my friend who's an Aston Villa fan quite regularly, because I think they're thinking that they're fine now. They're in the big leagues. They'll never look back again and they'll never face relegation. And I'm like, just hold it. Like, we've all been there, but trust me, it's so hard to sustain it. So with them giving Unai a brand new deal, it'll be interesting to see how Villa turn out this season. Because if they get off to a rocky start and we're responsible for that in part, that would be great.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're linked with a lot of players. And I know you need to build your squad a little bit when you've got big European nights. But I think he could be in danger of just tinkering a little bit too much with that squad, to be honest. There's going to be a lot of changes there. So playing them early on might be good for us, to be honest. You'll have a couple of players, coming back from the Euros late as well, who won't be up to speed. Palace is an interesting one for me because they were the form team at the end of the season.
Yes.
It looks like Elise is going to go. It'll be interesting to see whether they hang on to Eze, because I think those 2 players, are so critical for Palace. So even with one of them going, when you've got a team like that and one of those star players moves, it's more difficult for the others to say, I'm going to stick around. So that might be a little bit of upheaval there. But, in the big scheme of things, that could have been a lot worse, that first 5.
Yeah.
And it imbalances them as well, doesn't it? It imbalances the team. Like, look what happened when Kante left.
Yeah.
It does. Really stop your stride, if you like. Yeah. Break your stride.
Yeah. That's a song again. Nobody going to break my stride.
But Matthew Wilder.
Well, I'm going to say 10 points if you can name the singer.
Really good. You should do a quiz.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. I could say evening to Rico. Yeah, I think looking at that, and like I say, there's a club in there that's one of the ones that was mentioned by Kevin Maguire. I wonder which one. And in fact, might be 2 in there. But look, if we come out of those 5 games and we've got no points, and let's forget the deductions, but if we don't get any points from those first 5 games, I think we're in doo-doos. We can definitely say we are in. Now, if I was a betting man, I might have had a fiver on the general election being on the 4th of July, but I might also have had a fiver on playing Liverpool on Boxing Day. Let's have a look at Christmas. Craig, let's come to you first for this one. We've got Newcastle on the 14th away, Wolves home on the 21st, Liverpool away on the Boxing Day. Who knew? Manchester City home on the 29th. And January the 4th, which I still count as Christmas, Aston Villa away. Not the easiest of Christmases, is it?
No, there's. I think already Santa hasn't been kind to us there, has he?
No.
So you would hope that we're in a good state by then, because you don't want to be coming out the back end of Christmas really up against it. That you look at that, you could potentially say you'd be lucky if you're going to get 4 points, 5 points maybe from your Christmas period. So we need to be going into that with a decent points haul, because that's not particularly kind. But as you say, Liverpool at Christmas away, who'd have thought it?
Yeah, who'd have thought? Kate, your stocking's going to get filled with those results?
One can but hope.
You live in hope, do you?
Yeah, Liverpool away on Anfield. Oh, give us a break. Just give us a break. I can't remember the last home. When was the last home Boxing Day?
I don't know. We either have one or two of Man City or Liverpool.
I think I did Man City on Boxing Day during COVID.
Yeah.
I think we might have beaten them.
From that game as well.
Yes. Wasn't that the game that maybe kept Welling a little bit longer than he should have stayed? I don't know. But
that was 5-3. We were like 4-0 down at half time.
Yeah.
It was 5-3. I mean, it's tough. But I'm always of the opinion that Liverpool, Man City in there, they're not high pressure games for us. They're not high pressure games. It's a free hit. I wish we'd play them like a free hit, like it was an FA Cup competition or something, because we're just not expected to do anything, and I just don't think we will. So the other three, it depends how much Newcastle can spend this summer, because I think they are a bit exposed at the moment. I think the other three, again with Villa thrown in there, you'd like to think you can get a few points from them. Really? Did you say would. Newcastle was at home or away?
Newcastle is away.
Away. Okay. God, we've got some horror aways in the Christmas period.
Yeah, we've got over there. 3 of those are away. Wolves and Man City are at home, but yeah, it's not the easiest. And then we come to the worst run I think we've got all season. March, April. I think I'm going to leave the country.
Oh, Chris is.
I'm not doing the merge from under my quilt. We start March. This is March and April.
So this is this Easter? Does this include Easter then as well?
It will do, yes, because that's early April this year. So March the 8th, we are away to Chelsea. That's our second away game on the trot. 15th of March, home to Manchester United. 2nd of April, Easter, away to Man City. That'll be Good Friday. Easter Monday, the 5th of April, home to Newcastle. We have got Brighton in there, but I only got 5 boxes. So Liverpool then on the 19th of April. One more game to go in April, but again, that didn't make such good headlines.
They're interesting, those ones as well, because particularly with Chelsea and Man U, we might be having to deal with the new manager bounce, when they've got rid of Ten Hag and Maresca. So, who knows?
Up here for thinking, Craig?
Craig.
Yeah. Are you going to book a holiday then as well, Kate?
Yeah, why not? But again, they're all free hits to me. The Chelsea one will be tense and they'll be atmospheric for sure. Man United, if anybody went to Old Trafford a couple of seasons ago when we were the last in the Premier League, we were so unlucky, and it was the most frustrating game when we could have took the lead and then they thumped us second half. So they're always there for the taking, and I think they will be again. You saw Scotland.
That is our toughest run, and I'm so glad we didn't get that at the start of the season. But, if we take our Premier League spectacles off, Chelsea, we don't know how they're going to perform under Enzo. We know that could be the biggest disaster. Like Craig said, they could have a new manager. Man United, if it's anything like last season, if there's no improvement and they've still got Ten Hag there, that could just as easily, we could stuff them or they could stuff us, could go either way. Man City, yeah, all right. Newcastle again, they had a couple of bad results this season, last season, so not out the realms. And Liverpool, look at the first season Klopp was there, didn't really do an awful lot. So new manager again, bringing his ideas in, it could be interesting. But that, I think, is our toughest run. And then, Craig, let's come to you first with this one, and we'll end on this then, and we can all go off and watch Albania, is it, whoever's playing. The finishing line, City's last 5 games: Wolves away, Southampton home, Notts Forest away, Ipswich home, and then for some of us, even if we're down and out and on minus 30, we do get to have a day out at the seaside with an away trip to Bournemouth on May the 25th. Look, Craig, I mean, if we're sort of, 15, 16, 17, that's not a bad running, is it?
I don't think we could have asked for much more, to be honest. I know there's also a danger that all of those clubs will be in and around us as well, so everybody's fighting for it. But that means that you're probably going to get away with heart and desire. And I would imagine that if Steve Cooper brings nothing else, he'll bring some heart and desire to that team, and a bit more of that old Leicester fighting spirit. So I think that's a good end to the season for us. If we need some points, there's no excuse for not picking up. You'd be looking at double figures points there if you're up in it. If we're performing at a decent level, we could perform at a decent level this season, and because of the points deduction, still be down there. Yeah. If we are performing at a decent level, then you would hope that run-in gives us some hope.
We know if we slipped a little brown envelope, Kate, to the FA, I don't think we could have had a better start and a better finish for the season.
No, it's totally in our hands, isn't it, that finish there? I think, as Craig said, I think most of those clubs will be in and around, which will make it an uncomfortable ride probably at the same time. But the likelihood is, if we've got those guys in the last 5 games, the likelihood is that those 5 will also have each other, I would think, as well. And that's when the 6-pointers start coming out, and there's some real points to be snatched, really. So yeah, it's going to be tense, isn't it? You just want it to be kind of wrapped up by then, but we'll see.
And we owe Bournemouth one, because of course they were still on the beach when they played Everton a couple of seasons ago on the last day, which meant us going down. Guys, thank you so very, very much. I say conscious that there is going to be a game on now. Thank you for that. Kate, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you?
Yes, I'm on Twitter at KateBlakey40, so give me a hit on there.
How's your table? Is it still going up and down?
I've stabilised it.
You stabilised it. She's got a new toy. It goes up and down.
You're such a... I don't even...
Let's move on.
Yeah, fill in the blanks.
So, that makes
child, I was going to say child.
I know. I am such a child. I can't help it. Craig, tell everybody where you can be found. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, you can find me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Craig Bird. No numbers required.
Or preferred. Brilliant. Guys, thank you so very much. Go off, enjoy the football. Kate, have a fantastic holiday.
Yes,
thank you.
Very jealous.
Thank you. I'll see you when I get back.
And if you see Elvis, get a picture.
I'll do my best.
He's not dead, you know.
He's not dead, I know.
No, in fact, I tell you where, last time I heard about him, he was down a chip shop. Kirsty McCall. Check it out.
I know.
Thanks so much, guys. All the best.
Cheers. See you. Bye, Kate. Enjoy your holiday.
Bye. Thanks.
Cheers.
Thanks to Craig for coming in and standing in for Dave, who is on grandchild babysitting duties tonight. If I just move that over like that, that makes me more central. And very good question. How many points do you think we need to stay up? Everyone always says 40 points, but normally 34 will keep you up. West Ham went down a few seasons ago with 40 points. That's how bad it was last season, because 40 points, you were mid-table. Look, I mean, next season, anything we try and predict, all depends on the points deduction, doesn't it? All depends on the points deduction. I mean, I'm going to be doing a league prediction show soon, and that, I mean, what do you do with Leicester when you don't know whether they're going to have so many points deducted or not? And, of course, the other three teams that possibly could do that aren't in the Big Six. Do remember to check it out. If he tries and pulls it in, there we go. Do check that out on Leicester Till I Die TV. It's still under the section entitled The Pick. Kieran Maguire, everything you wanted to know about PSR, FFP, and even PPI, if that's your thing. Thanks very much. I'm off to watch the football now. We'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 doing the England-Slovenia game. Join us then. Take care. Thanks to everybody that was in the chat for all your questions. And Paul, Scott earlier, Nate when he was in, Doug popped in. So thanks to everybody. And if you've been listening to us via your favourite podcast platform, thank you for lending us your ears. Really, really do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow night. Thanks very much now. Take care. Good night.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You'd better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.